Hi, I'm Robert Estrin here at Living Pianos TV. Today's subject is one of the most important about pianos. What is a soundboard? Most of you probably know what a soundboard is, so I'm going to give you some information that will be interest to you as well. But I want to start at the beginning briefly to tell you what the soundboard is on a piano. If you look inside a piano, underneath the strings you see a piece of wood under the entire piano. That is the soundboard. It's a thin membrane. Now here's the thing about a soundboard that you should know. The soundboard is built into the piano under pressure. The rim of the piano holds the soundboard, causing a slight upward arching, which is called the crown. This is what gives its piano the incredible power and sustain of the tone. Without that crown, if the soundboard flattens out, you can put new strings, you can put new hammers, you can do all the work you want. You'll never get satisfying results. So in rebuilding pianos, it's important to choose instruments that have good soundboards. Now, can you replace a soundboard? Well, yes. Interestingly, in Europe, if you buy a piano that has a new soundboard in it, legally, you're not allowed to put the name of the original manufacturer on the front of the piano. The logic being that, for all purposes, it is not the original piano, any more than if you had a Stradivarius violin and the top was gone and it was replaced with another top, that's not a Stradivarius anymore. So, all the pianos that I rebuild, I make sure that I have instruments that have good soundboards to work with, or I pass on them, because I want to get the character of the original instruments. For example, this piano is probably 1 in 1,000, and that is not an exaggeration. This piano was originally manufactured in 1874. It's a Southern California piano that has had such a kind environment. It's the original soundboard, and yes, it has excellent crown, and some of you may be concerned about cracks. Cracks are another issue with soundboards, but contrary to popular belief, cracks are usually benign. In other words, it's a normal part of the aging process on soundboards in most parts of the country. Cracks can become problematic, particularly if the soundboard gets detached from the ribs. These ribs are important for the structure of the soundboard. If they become detached at any point, it can cause buzzing. And then the only way to really fix that properly is to remove the plate and rebuild the piano. But the good news is that you can get good results with soundboards that have open cracks. Cracks that are tight and sealed present no problem. If they open up, like a piano that goes to a very dry environment that has hairline cracks, it's possible those cracks could open up and cause problems later. So therefore, when a piano is rebuilt, it's possible to repair those cracks. How is this done? Well, once the plate is off, you can get to everything. The soundboard is heated up from underneath, usually with a couple of 100-watt light bulbs, something moderate. And once it opens, shims of the same high-quality spruce are glued in place and sanded. And then the soundboard is structurally as strong as it was to begin with. So cracks are not a huge issue unless they are big open cracks with detached ribs, in which case they still can be fixed by shimming when the piano is rebuilt. So, how do you know if your piano has cracks? Well, you look under, and so come with me for a moment so you can see what it looks like underneath the piano. So here we are in the netherworld under the piano. Good news for you upright shoppers, you just have to look at the back of the upright. Hopefully it's not up against the wall because moving those is not the easiest thing in the world. Anyway, I suggest if you're buying a piano, climb underneath and take a look. This is really the heart and soul of the piano up here. Now, take a business card and you want to try to go through the ribs to see if there's any space between the ribs and the soundboard. If there is, that's a problem that needs to be fixed because that can buzz. And unfortunately, it's almost impossible to fix without taking off the plate. So you have to rebuild the piano. That can be a deal breaker if you're looking for a piano to buy that you don't want to invest in rebuilding. However, hairline cracks don't present a problem if they're sealed cracks. Sometimes you'll see little hairline cracks on the top of the soundboard under the strings, but you climb up underneath and they don't go all the way through. Those are also a non-issue. Could they become an issue? Sure, but a soundboard that has no cracks could also develop them and become an issue, so I wouldn't worry about that. In fact, if you want more information on that, I suggest reading Larry Fine, the piano book, and he has a whole chapter on soundboards, including cracks and the myth about problems with soundboard cracks. Some are a problem, most are not. All right, so that's it for Under the Piano. All right, it's worth going under there. Believe me, you'll learn a lot about your piano, that your own piano or pianos you're looking at. Check out the soundboard. And can you measure crown? Well, interestingly, some people like to take a string along the whole length of the soundboard underneath and see if there's a gap in the middle, which would indicate crown. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes it's hard to see. But the real key is to play the piano and listen to the power and sustain of the tone, particularly in the higher register. The soundboard tends to lose its sustain on the top soonest. So if you play a piano and you notice at the very top register, like the last 3 octaves or so, are dead, you play a note and you have a strong attack and the note dies, that's very likely could be a soundboard problem. Another important consideration about soundboards is what's referred to as downbearing. You see, the strings arc over the bridge and it must exert downward pressure on the bridge. If the soundboard loses crown, you might lose downbearing, and that is a fatal problem that requires total rebuilding of the piano to correct. Now, if the piano hasn't been serviced in many years, it could reflect other problems. There are things you can alleviate. They can alleviate the lack of sustain in the piano, like tapping down the strings on all the points of contact on the bridge to get better termination. Sometimes that can solve that problem. So it can be difficult to ascertain whether the problems on your piano are soundboard related or not, unless it's in top condition, which is one of the caveats about buying a piano to fix up. It's hard to know what results you're going to get unless you have a lot of experience with it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, Robert Estrin, here at Living Pianos TV. Look forward to other videos, and I appreciate all the suggestions that I keep getting from you. Keep them coming. Thanks a lot. See you next time.